Today we're coming from one of the constituencies in the central region, so make sure that you join us. But in the meantime, let me just introduce to you our distinguished guests we have to help us do the discussion this morning, for which we'll be talking first about the concerns that have been raised about, well, not only pollution of our water bodies by the Ghana Water Company, but constantly metals that are now embedded in even water that is, so to speak, refined. So they put in all the chemicals where you still have particles or trace of metals. According to public health researchers and experts, we have a lot of people not only suffering, but also going to suffer subsequently from chronic issues because of Galamsey effect of our water body. And this is a normal water body, now very milky, chocolate-like. You fetch it in a bottle, you think that is cocoa powder and milk, but you'll be in trouble. The Ghana Water Company, in its latest statement, which we'll take you through, is indicating a lot of problems are here. Let me just introduce our guest for the morning. I have lawyer Yaobwabing Asamoah, Movement for Change. Good morning to you.
Good morning, brother.
And then also Kofi Ameyao. Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Mr. Walker.
Great to have you back.
You too.
All right. And then Dujita Maklo, legal practitioner as well. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning, Roland. And good morning to your cherished viewers and my learned senior here. But Roland, just permit me 30 seconds. I just want to thank the Agbogbo Mafia, Togbi Apete. You know, over the weekend, myself and my team of lawyers associated with the NDC have been in the Volta region, particularly Ho. And he received us very well, he and his elders. And my
you
team
had a meeting
of lawyers,
with him?
Yes, eventually we paid a courtesy call on him.
Okay.
And he did so well. And this morning, the team of lawyers who are going to the various constituencies to train polling agents, among others, I wish you traveling mercies.
Okay.
And God be with you all.
All right.
So, the director of...
Yeah.
So let me just take you through the statement by the Ghana Water Company. It's indicating water supply challenges emanating from illegal mining activity, from Galamsey activities. I think, Ghana, we need to put in the lexicon, just like the way we did for Dumso, Galamsey activity. The management of the water company is informing all its cherished customers within Cape Coast, a place I know so well, Mina as well, and surrounding communities in recent times, that there's a demand gap. So for all those who are in Cape Coast, they'll tell you that water is a problem. About 60% of the catchment capacity is silted. Silted means that there's a lot of filth. So either it could be sand or anything else. As a result of illegal mining, aka Galamsey, or into brackets, comprising the quality of raw water. And currently, according to the Ghana Water Company, they are recording an average of 30 BT of 14%, 14,000 MTU. Instead of the maximum that they need, 2,000, designed for adequate treatment. It's making them spend millions than they ever estimate. I don't know. But look, let's take you through let's take you through a number of the inserts that we have, so to speak. You know, the president has said he was going to put his presidency on the line, etc. We'll play you that insert. But Kofi Ameyao, why has the government allowed our water bodies to be inundated with not only silt, we have some minerals in the injurious to our health?
I think the question should be, why have we allowed ourselves to get to where we are now?
Why? Why should we accept that question?
It's a collective responsibility. It's a shared responsibility. And I think everybody has a role to play.
You and whose responsibility?
All Ghanaians. And it's extremely unfortunate. I schooled, good morning to you and good morning to your viewers. And,
you schooled?
Yeah, I schooled in UCC.
Okay.
That's where I had my first degree. And proud to me coming there. Cape Coast used to have a lot of water issues until President Kufuor solved it at some point. So it's extremely unfortunate that through the activities of Galamsey, we are having challenges with supply of water. And I also did my national service with Ghana Water Company. And I worked through all the departments. So
which year was that?
2007.
So 2007.
I was with Ghana Water for my national
Was
service.
the water polluted as we have it now?
No, not at all. In fact, I mentioned the fact that I went to UCC. And in fact, whilst I was in UCC, I lived in Takrady. So I used the River Pra often, especially the one around Biposo. And when you are traveling and you see the River Pra, it was beautiful.
How do you feel now?
Embarrassing. It's extremely embarrassing. And I think I said that it's a shared responsibility because just about a week or so ago, we had some chiefs in the Ashanti region being disturbed because they were engaging illegal activities, Galamsey activities. And of course, we've had district chief executive officers who have been also involved in Galamsey activities. Okay, so you realize that the activities are not done just by a few people, a group of people. It's something that is done by everybody. And I believe that, yes, governments have made attempts to curtail this menace in time past. Unfortunately, they have not been extremely successful. The NDC government under John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency, tried it. It really didn't work out. When President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo assumed the reins of power, sometime 2017, and I recall that July in 2017, he came to New York, and the statement that you mentioned that he made, that he put his presidency on the line, he reiterated and doubled down on that statement. And
the president came to say that in New York too?
Oh, yeah. I think New York University, that he will fight Galamsey.
The president said that there?
Yeah. And indeed, he put out measures in place to ensure we had Operation Vanguard, the Galamsey, there was a secretariat.
Interministerial.
And all that, interministerial, committee just to fight this Galamsey. But unfortunately, I think it hasn't been able to resolve the issues entirely. There has been a proposal that we must do things differently by His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, leader and flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party. And I think we need to find the geological set because, as you are aware, the mining activities, of course, we have the illegal miners and then we have the small-scale miners who are legal. And what we are experiencing now are as a result of the illegal activities. Those who do not have the concessions, who do not have the requisite laws and the procedure to be able to do the mining are really engaged in these sort of activities that is destroying and polluting our water bodies and even our forest. So it's extremely important that as we move forward, there's something that we need to do differently. These people go to these areas without appreciation of the fact that if they will get gold here or there, so they just do try and error. And then in the end, they pollute our waters. But if we find the Geological Services Department to ensure that they will do the survey and determine if there's gold in a particular area, then they will give concession, which will thereby reduce these activities. It's extremely unfortunate that we haven't achieved a lot of successes in this area. And I say it once again, and I will reiterate the point that it's a shared responsibility, a collective one, that we all must ensure that at some point we stop, because there's cascading effect. The negative effect of illegal mining, it's something that, for me, you see, at the end of the day, the people who suffer is not the politician. It's not the government that we are all expecting to solve it. It's the ordinary people in that area. It's the poor person in that village who will suffer, who will not get water to drink. The minister or the chief executive officer somewhere can at least buy pure water or buy some bottled water and drink, or even employ the services of the water tankers to bring water to his house or her home every weekend. But the poor person in that village, who probably is engaging in that illegal activity, destroying the lands, destroying the water bodies, will suffer eventually. So I believe that in as much as we want government, of course, government has a huge responsibility, the ultimate responsibility to ensure that at the end of the day, we stop these activities. But we also do have the people, the opinion leaders in those areas, the chiefs in those areas, also do have responsibility to ensure that we stop this. We must stop this at some point. We must stop this at some point. And I believe that if you come together to fight it, we can.
Eduji, so now the presidency said he put his presidency on the line. Kofi Amayao is now lamenting. So who should have the responsibility?
Okay, so Roland, once again, good morning. Before I proceed, I have a very good friend, Jifa. Today happens to be his birthday. Our constituency secretary for Lada Dekutupon. Jifa, happy birthday. That said, you see, we are put in a situation where the Ghanaian is confronted with this storyline.
Which storyline?
And the storyline is that if we solve the problem of Galamsey now, what will we do tomorrow?
Oh, how?
And that is what we are confronted with. Leadership failure. The Akufo-Addo administration has obtained a dubious distinction for three things. 1, economic mess. 2, educational mess. And 3, environmental mess. The conversation now is about the environmental mess created by the lack of leadership demonstrated by Akufo-Addo and Bawumia. It's a very simple matter. Nothing more. Look, let us not go around the story. And in all of this, I ask moral society, your inability to call out Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia is the reason why we are where we are. The lack of courage and boldness.
Meaning, well, who do you want
to
call
out Akufo-Addo and Bawumia in this mess?
Who should be doing that?
Listen, the moral society.
Being.
And you see, we have Christian Council. All these big flowery names, they have the responsibility. The moment Akufo-Addo said, I was putting my presidency on the line, right? It was supposed to be a call for action. But what we have seen is what you describe as a call for inaction. Look, as we speak, MPP parliamentary candidates, listen to me carefully, for Amenfi East, it's on record, tape recording of him effectively telling people to fight soldiers who will go and help in the fight against Galamsey. Nothing absolutely has happened to him. In fact, the police called him and gave him a handshake and said,
he came to apologize, I think.
Look, if you look at the mess that Galamsey had created, it is not a question of apology. What Mr. Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia Alhaji ought to be doing is to demonstrate that strong leadership by reprimanding. Have you heard Akufo-Addo all throughout this reprimand any of his appointees associated either by reckless comments about Galamsey? No.
What did you want to say?
In fact, you see, Akufo-Addo is that elder in the house who only sits down, allows children to mess up, and only comes and say, why did you do it? No leadership. Look, an appointee of Akufo-Addo, in the person of the Western Regional Minister, there's a video recording of him meeting Galamseyers. The man happens to be the chairman of the Regional Security Council. Listen carefully. He, being the one responsible for the fight against Galamsey, is rather seen in a video pampering them, encouraging them.
Pampering? And
Akufo-Addo is like mampam. He can't hear, he can't see. You know the animal called mampam?
Which animal is that?
Yes. It cannot hear, it cannot see. See no evil, hear no evil. So, when you see today
Ghana Water, we are being told that we can't produce water. This is the record of Akufo-Addo. This is the record of Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. This is what Ghanaians are going to vote on December 7th. We had the benefit of leadership. Now, when you ask Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, what are you going to do? He says, if I solve the Galamsey problem now, what would I do tomorrow?
He never said that.
What did he say? No, Roland, what did he say? The man was asked about his solution to the current problems. He said, I can't do it now. Because if I do it now, what would I do tomorrow? Didn't Bawumia say that? I didn't put those words in his mouth.
It was just in jest.
Oh, so you have put the laughing emoji in front of it. Is that what you have done this morning? Look, Ghanaians expect sound leadership. They expect a leader who can confront their problem head on. What have we seen in the past years? Nothing, absolutely nothing. In fact, you have leaders today who, when they mount even political platform, what they do is to dance and dance and dance. And you know the painful
part. It's a
part.
rally.
Please, hold on, I beg you. You know the painful part. You know the painful part. Today, and I beg you.
Please wrap up for me. So I'll go to Lawyer YB.
Today, our mothers, our sisters, our daughters, when they go out there to give birth, they are not giving birth to children without limbs. They are not giving birth to children whose genitals are not properly formed. This Galamsey matter is an existential threat to this republic. Yesterday, in the palace of Togui Apete, he said something profound. He said, Eduji and your team, I make this pledge as a chief. I will not allow anywhere in Volta region or whatever for anybody to come and do Galamsey and destroy our water bodies. Have you seen how pure the Volta Lake looks like? That is what you need. What we have seen now. And that is why I say that the 2024 election is a referendum on the Akufo-Addo leadership. And let nobody deceive us.
YB, Kofi says it's a collective responsibility. We've had over time, even though Tunfor also laments in the presence of the president himself, that he could even bet that about a third of the people in the room at the time were also the conveyor belt for Galamsey. How would you judge this? Is it that the president's promise to us has failed, he himself has failed, or is that we all are just recalcitrant and have just let everything go haywire when it comes to this? You see the polluted waters.
Good morning to you.
Morning,
once again, morning to my fellow panelists. Morning to all the world, especially Ghanaians who are watching TV 3 this morning. Everybody watches New Day.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the acknowledgement.
Yeah, everybody does.
Thank you for holding the fort too.
Let me commend the media so far in the battle against Galamsey. Galamsey meaning illegal mining, because there will always be mining. The question is illegal mining. Now, in particular, let me commend TV3. You've just started the election
command center. We launched it.
Yes, I had the privilege of being there. And I want you to not only look at election numbers, but actual policy analysis also with
policy
numbers.
Analysis.
Yes.
But you agree that we do that?
You have to.
But we should intensify it.
But you don't do enough of it. For example, what we are talking about this morning, there are a minimum, as at this morning, I believe, of 3 documented approaches to fighting Galamsey. Or where it's not documented, and there's a document out in the name of any political group, you must interrogate that as well. But the NDC has launched a manifesto, the NPP has launched a manifesto. There's a great transformational plan. I would have expected this morning that you have a matrix on screen about what every document is saying about how to manage.
Okay, then hold on that. Let me just play the video. So let's play the videos for him. I have John Mahama at least. I also have... No. Let me play so that we put the matter into perspective, so we don't speak in vacuum.
No, when you are doing videos, Mahama is speaking, this one is speaking. No, you should, yes. So let's, I'm just telling you, if you have the videos, break them down into a matrix. This one says this because I'm going to go through. And now, two key issues. The first is policy failure. Policy failure is a fear, particularly of unsettling the status quo. Because if this government had been serious, not this government, but governments have been serious about implementing the Akilapa report, would have been somewhere by now. You've heard of the Akilapa report?
Certainly.
The report that deals with how interests and benefits in the mining sector, particularly the gold mining, are structured in a way that disadvantages Ghanaians. And it's part of that reason why indigenous people are going in illegally instead of formally. Because whilst you have a legal structure that benefits foreign commercial interests, you don't have a clear legal structure that integrates local mining. So, what do you call it?
GTP has it.
The GTP is saying that it
Which
will
page
review, page 77, under natural resource management. It's going to review all existing contracts in the natural resource sector with a view to optimizing benefits to the country and enhancing local content. The other aspect is greed. And this form of greed is also policy failure because, as I've said before, whenever governments come in with intent, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do that, and their intents are not well thought through and put in the form of actionable, doable policies, they come in, they find they can't carry out their intent because they don't have the capacity or the resources within government to do so. Then they capitulate. They give up and play according to what the powers that be want them to do, which means that they also get involved. So you come in with all the intent. Oh, I'll put my office on the line if Galamsey doesn't work. But what is the end game? If you put your office on the line and it doesn't work, what do you do? Now, it hasn't worked. There was a ban. It hasn't worked. The doctrine of necessity. Both administrations, NPP and DC, they've been burning excavators. They've been seizing excavators. None of that has worked. So who is going to resign from their office? The president or the previous NDC who want to come back still without a clear approach? But when they fail, what happens is that greed sets in. Political operatives jump in. That is why you have people blatantly and brazenly mining by the roadside in Konongo. Now, all over the country, everybody is mining because people want their share before they leave power, or they are pushing people up front to ensure that some money is made because there's no control. You scratch the back of an illegal company and you will find a politically exposed person. You will scratch the back of an illegal company mining in Galamsey, and you will find a politically exposed person at the highest level, at the middle level, at the lower level, and it impacts both parties. It is not Nanado. The NDC couldn't control it; their own people were involved, and we have the famous tapes where the NDC operatives went into the bush and were telling Galamsey operators that when they come in, they will allow them to operate and they will release them from prison and all that. So, to be able to deal with this, you must have a structured approach. And the GTP structured approach is that we are going to eliminate Galamsey in 2 years. Flat.
How?
Yes.
How are you going to do that?
So first of all, you want to enforce existing legislation and regulations against mining water bodies and forests. That's the first thing. Water bodies and forests. Secondly, you want to develop and implement a new business model for dealing with the young people who are involved. We have to accept in principle that it will not go away. And criminalization is not enough. So you have to tidy it up. You have to corporatize the youth. Bring them together in forms that can be transparently managed. As in companies. As in, once they are a company, they are registered. As in, they have records. They have assets. You can track who is behind what. And you can give them access to resources. You can give them access to technical knowledge so that they mine properly. And you can give them access to markets. You sanitize them and make it a business a proper business, which you can compare to.
So what they need is a way forward on how
that is what
they
we
go
are
through
saying
the
now.
value chain.
That is what we are saying now. I'm not going to here to be here to. The GTP is not a lamentations document. The GTP is an actionable plan that will deal with what we have as a nation and enable that to benefit Ghanaians, particularly the youth who want a way out. The people who are doing Galamsey in those dangerous conditions are not doing it willfully because they love dying. They are doing it because there's no room for them to also express themselves. But as it is being done, it is against the entire country. A few people are damaging large swathes of the country for their personal benefit. We can't just lament it. And we can't just criminalize it. We must find a way forward. What is criminal must be criminalized. Those who are mining in water bodies and in forests, they must be criminalized and dealt with. But for those who are prepared to do proper work, we must facilitate them to do the work as it ought to be done, so that the nation benefits through taxes, through transparent practices. You understand what I'm saying? So we are going to make sure that we grant mineral rights, appropriate equipment and facilities, technical support, marketing and distribution. Then we need to look at the institutions. This business about
which is the Minerals Commission.
All the institutions involved in the area, including the chiefs, the local authorities, and Minerals Commission. This business about the president having given his right to access to land to the Minerals Commission, who then sit in Accra, take cadastral plans and give out, including whole communities, villages, farms, and without going to the ground, and have people's properties being destroyed left, right, and center.
How should
it has
it be
to
done?
change. When you do legal review, you consolidate mandates, you establish responsibility and accountability. That's the first thing. This is economic governance. You have political governance, the will to do it, and then economic governance is the structures you use to do it. You understand? When you have multiple agencies, nobody is responsible for anything. So you have to consolidate agencies, establish clearly the responsibility of every agency, and establish the mechanisms for accountability, usually including publication. Have you seen the JAPA document? Japadia document. It's supposed not to be.
I've read it thoroughly.
So you realize that there are 332 mining companies. Have you seen that?
Yes, the list.
The list. 332 mining companies, and the intention to license them or whatever. So it's across the country. It's across the country. What we must realize this morning is that we still have, according to experts, over 5 billion ounces of gold in the earth, underground, yet to be extracted.
Within our borders?
Within the country, across the nation. Those 332 companies in Ejapadia are spread across Ghana, at least 8 to 10 regions of Ghana. If we don't have progressive solutions now, we will be importing water to bath. Not just drink, but bath. That means if you need water to bath, then it means you are at the point where you have to import rivers into this country. So something must be done. The GTP is prepared.
Is a solution for that. You say
we have.
All right.
So no, we are prepared to have. We are prepared to have the public interrogate the conditions, and that's what I'm saying. You must matrix it.
As to how they're going to resolve the problem.
These are actionable policy positions we have taken, and are workable from day one. They are not promises. We'll do this, we'll do that. No.
It's the same thing, right? We had an interministerial committee. That's a promise.
But that's the
president even promised.
Was there political will behind it?
He was willing to put, he dare say at the time that he was willing to put his presidency.
When he did that, what was the accountability? Was he prepared to resign if it failed?
You tell me.
What is the accountability from him? I'm not the president. You better ask the president, or perhaps you ask Kofi Ameyao. What happened to
Imson? Director of communication.
Imson was a policy failure. I started by saying that we've had major policy failures. Right. What has happened to Imson? What has happened to the accusations Professor Frimpong Boateng made beyond the Imson and the reports he made, which have been referred to the CID and all that? What has happened to all those? It's political will.
These are key considerations.
I think already accept that on the table. We need to go forward. But the current situation of quasi-criminalization, where some people are getting away with it, particularly politically exposed persons, and others are being traduced, and then it's overall lamentation, whilst the natural resources of the nation are being damaged at a fast rate, will not work.
Okay. So Kofi Ameyao, I think that on the table now is that we had a solution that was proposed to us by the president with various institutions set up, a lot of taxpayers' money going to their expenses, and at the end of the day, we failed. In the Professor Frimpong Boateng report, for example, he says, I can state without any equivocation that many party officials from the national to the unit committee level had their friends, PAs, what PAs? Personal assistants. So even personal assistants, agents, relatives, financiers, or relatives engaged in illegal mining. Most of them engage Chinese working for them. So they are individuals you can't pinpoint, but they have agents like Chinese, etc., on the ground doing that.
First of all,
so it's pure failure. So any proposition somebody will say from Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will not work because he was in the same cabinet with Professor Frimpong Boateng. They never resolved it.
For starters, okay, the Ejapadia document is a figment of somebody's imagination. So, Director, I would pray that you kindly move away from that.
You call him what, Director?
Yes.
Why?
Because you are directing the previous Ejapadia document.
No, he was my boss.
I told you,
Can you stop?
He was your boss.
He was my boss. He was the communications director.
Director of communications, MPP, and you worked under him.
He was extremely wonderful to me.
Okay.
Extremely.
Okay, please go ahead.
So you see, when I could have, okay, gone into the failures of the previous administration, I didn't do so because, and I'll repeat, this is a shared responsibility and a collective responsibility by everyone. But my friend here and council decided to go into the arena of politics.
Who's your friend and council?
Eduji. Okay? To the extent that he found a way to bring in the president. Of course, president is the president. He's responsible. But for him to say that he has turned blind eye to some of the issues that are going on and called him Mampine and all that names, and I think we will come to that later, it's unfortunate because the president sacked the DCE for Bosume Frehun for engaging in illegal activities, mining activities. Oh yeah, he did. You don't know. You don't even remember. Okay? So when we sit here, and he talked about the fact that we have ministers and everybody talking about Galamsey. You had your former deputy communications director going into many areas, okay, anointing and commissioning the people to continuously engage in illegal mining activities. In fact, he promised them that when NDC should come to power in 2021, they'll give them machinery to engage in illegal activities. He made that statement. He forgot to mention that. This is not politics. Okay, we are having a serious issue on our hands. And this is not the time. We were expecting, instead of lamentation, for you to provide solutions as identified in your manifesto. You haven't done so. At least I mentioned to you what we would do when Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia assumed the reins of power, by making sure we fund a geological service so that this issue of try and error, where they will go here, dig here, and go to the river bodies and mess and just pollute our water bodies, will be able to, mitigate it. Roland, the issue is this.
What's the issue, Kofi Ameya?
We must come together to fight this. The media started it. In fact, the previous administration started it. And the minister responsible for the interministerial task force, Mahama Ayariga then, said that we have failed as a government. We couldn't fight it. When we came to power, we put measures in place. Unfortunately, it hasn't been successful. That doesn't mean we should fold our arms and throw our hands in despair. We must continually push forward to ensure that this must stop. And what are the policies that we've put in place? At least we brought in the NALEP, the National Alternative Livelihood Empowerment Program. That is to ensure that at the end of the day, the young people in that neighborhood or in that enclave that are engaged in illegal mining will find some sort of job to do. Okay? We have put measures in place. Has it been successful or have they been successful? I don't think so. That doesn't mean we should stop. We will continue to engage the people. And I'm saying that, like Eduji said, when he went to Water Region, that Togbe Afede has declared that in his area, nobody will come and do any illegal mining there. And I'm saying that our chiefs in these areas must also stand up to their core and ensure that no individual, politically or non-politically, will not come into their area to engage in illegal mining activities. And that, for me, at the end of the day, will help reduce this menace. Otherwise, when you do this political football, you did this, I did that, it won't solve anything. We must all come together as a people. This is not lamentation. This is just a call so that we will fix our problem. This is a Ghana problem. This is not MPP NDC problem. Okay, Roland. So for me, moving forward, we must table our issues on the discussion table as the movement change people have done.
Who should we hold responsible, Kofi Ahmed, before I go to him?
The responsibility lies on the president.
Okay,
but I'm saying that whilst he has that ultimate responsibility, there's also a shared responsibility that we must pay attention to.
Right.
You see,
What does your manifesto say?
You cannot hide your incompetence under the rubrics of what collective.
So were you incompetent when you couldn't manage it and declare that you have
become. You see, what you cannot do on this table is that when you vote for a leader, it's a commitment to solve a problem. You have been in power for 7 years, 8 months. And you are telling us collective response. So what has been your use?
I don't understand.
You are the leader. What has been your use? The problem had gotten worse under your watch. Now you see, the president went before church leaders who, listen carefully, and started defending Akonta mining in front of church leaders, and they were clapping for him.
You mean Chairman Wontumi is coming?
Yes!
Is it an illegal?
Please, I beg you. First of all, mining is lawful. What we have a problem is the destruction of the environment associated with mining and what we call Galamsey. So the NDC had always been committed to lawful mining without more. And so if you hear any NDC official speak to mining, it's about the lawfulness of it.
Because he mentions Kokubuahin, right?
Exactly.
I'm giving the
no,
video to
please.
Let him play it.
I don't have a problem. In fact, you can play any video that you want. But what I am saying is that President Akufo-Addo has a direct responsibility over the Western Regional Minister. Did you watch his video? Where he was encouraging Galamsey.
Did you watch Kokubuahin's video?
Yes, he never said Galamsey.
I've given the video to your producer.
Calm down. When you were
Let's
talking,
listen
I
and
was
watch.
writing.
I'm sorry.
Learn to do that, please. First of all, this government told us that they have expended $3 million in purchasing 200 drones to monitor Galamsey activities. $3 million. What has become the use of the 200 drones? After you purchase 200 drones to solve a problem, the problem had become worse. What is your use then? Are you not useless? And that is where we should tailor the conversation. The leadership failure. What my brother tried doing is to let us all forget that we have a president. So the republic is on autopilot.
How so?
The republic is on autopilot.
He mentioned the president as having the ultimate responsibility.
No, but the point is
He's saying that going forward, we should toe the line of the movement for change and the itinerized policies. And so, what is going to be done going forward? You are saying that no, we should call.
No, you see, first of all, you must identify the problem. And then now profile the solution. Now you are making the problem look like it is our problem. Mr. Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia have no say. And I am saying that this country, unless of course you are telling us that we do not have a leader, and that this country is autopilot. There's no leader. He's buffing somewhere else. But that cannot be the case.
What does the NDC intend to do?
We have always made the firm promise to Ghanaians that when it comes to mining, and if you look at our manifesto, it's tailored out there. What we have said is that a situation where you say you are fighting Galamsey and redeploying concession to party apparatchiks must come to an end. Two, because you see, when they claim they were fighting Galamsey, what they were actually doing is to reroute the concession to party apparatchiks. And in fact, you see, the damning verdict on Galamsey came from Mr. Akufo-Addo's own minister, the respected heart surgeon, Professor Frimpong. I didn't write that 39-page report. And guess what? Akufo-Addo, when the report came to him, he never discussed it to anybody. until Frimpong Boakye went to GBC and said the Jubilee House had become the center of Galamsey. Then the presidency got angry and referred him to CID for investigation in order to gag him. For the first time, Frimpong Boakye was arrested, you recall, and granted bail. His only crime is to expose Akufo-Addo's complacency, his participation in this whole Galamsey business. That is the point we are making. And you cannot run away from it by saying it is collective responsibility. It is leadership failure by Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. As simple as that.
So Roland, when you see...
And before then, Domahini, for instance, had made it very clear, Nana Domahini, Osajifo Ajumabedu, he said, look, don't come to my area. It matters who you are. Don't come. Can you imagine mining in a forest reserve? A whole MPP regional chairman. And Akufo-Addo is watching it. And you say collective responsibility.
The general social thing heading into this election is that we have to fight Galamsey. The media is...
It's a concern.
Yes, fight.
I mean, it's been a concern over the last 8 years.
Fight. So the word fight, you have to break it down. How do you fight it? There must be a framework. That's why we are offering policy frameworks. Now, at the heart of this is benefits. How do you actualize the benefit and apportion it so that everybody gets some substantially and in a sustainable manner? You get the benefit without destroying. So you need not necessarily write politically exposed persons out of the benefit chain in terms of ownership. In terms
I don't understand. You are saying that you're going to give concessions to movement
I'm not
for
saying
change.
I'm going to give concessions to movement for change. I'm saying that...
What are you saying?
I just heard, what's his name mentioned, regional chairman of, he owns a mine. He's a businessman. He owns a mining company. I'm saying that you don't disqualify immediately because somebody is politically exposed and in a certain line of business. But you establish transparency and responsibility. So if a party person owns a concession, owns a mineral company, Ghana must know that that person owns that company and that that company is operating within the rules and remit of everybody, and that they didn't come by that benefit through illegal means, through nepotism, through favorism, and that they went through the normal channels that everybody else must go through. It's very important to establish that there is rule of law, there is order. You understand? That we are not disqualified from certain opportunities because we are who we are.
So there shouldn't be seclusion.
There shouldn't be discrimination. But there must be transparency. What the politicians are doing is that they are creating shell companies, hiding behind the companies, importing Chinese and equipment, and then putting these guys out and protecting them. It's a fact.
Do you know some of them?
They are protecting them
from the former parties.
Oh, I don't have to mention it. It is a fact. I'm not interested in that kind of...
No, but we need to put the matters into perspective. I'm saying that, do you know some of the individuals that you can easily... So we can name and shame some of them.
Roland, the fact is that politically exposed people are deeply involved in the current situation. They haven't come by the concessions transparently through law and order. We don't know them for who they are, but we all know that equipment cannot come in from China, pass through Tema Port, be put on low loaders and disappear into the bush without some sort of official complicity.
That's a trace.
Even the Ashanti regional minister is so afraid he's issued a warning that drip equipment shouldn't be used to do Galamsey. Or you haven't heard?
I haven't heard. Tell me.
You know the drip equipment?
Yes.
The recently acquired
the local government.
The district local government thing. The Ashanti regional minister is on record as having warned that the equipment should end up in the bush doing Galamsey.
Why do you think he said
Because he knows that is where it will end up. Because he knows, because the people in charge will not be able to control the movement.
You seem to know your former party very well. And the way they operate.
I know what is happening in Ghana on the political space. It's not about just NDC were also involved. Don't restrict it to the current government. It is a problem that we need to have a solid framework for. And two things before I end. As part of our framework, we are saying we are going to introduce new legislation and regulations that will make sure that we process at least 60% of all raw materials in Ghana. Why are we still exporting gold? Right? They'll tell you it's a London Bullion Marketing Association regulation. They've been taking gold from Ghana for 400 years, and we still don't have a right to be part of the process for selling our gold. How can that be? And we are saying that the Western region, as a region, will become a new minerals resource processing hub for West Africa. So you process at least 60%, 20 30. We are saying we will amend Article 2576 of the Constitution to make traditional authorities co-trustees of the land.
Not only the president.
Not only the president. So that there's clear responsibility. Yeah, Article 257 into brackets 6. Yeah. Because then you can bring the chiefs in and make them actually responsible for what is under the land that they are holding in fiduciary trust for the people. Okay. What I'm insisting on saying is that we have to find progressive solutions. It is about exploitation of something that's available to us, God-given to us. What is happening now is that we are pretending, because we haven't advanced the frameworks for exploitation. We are pretending, but people are taking the benefit illegally because we are pretending that we need to do something about it. So now is the time to have actionable policies that can do something about it. Make sure we access it beneficially for as many Ghanaians as possible, including the government.
All hands on deck.
Do it properly.
Participate.
Do it properly.
No.
Inclusive approach. If you are politically exposed and you want to go and have a concession, let us know who is behind the concession. Let us see you. Let's see that you got the license properly. Let's see that you are mining properly. Let's see that you are paying your taxes. Let's see that you are protecting the environment. Let's see that you are replacing